G'day punters, welcome to the Mailbags preview for Caulfield. Sir John Monash Stakes Day, Group 3 race, 1100 metres at Caulfield. Dicko, Rhoden, it's good to have you both on board. I'm not exactly sure the Group 3 in the middle of July is necessarily fitting of Sir John Monash, but you guys would know a little bit more about that than me. Would you care to elaborate?
Mark?
I went to the university named after the great General Sir John Monash. Didn't finish anything, but I went for a few years. Had a good time. Close to Sandown too, so it was handy for Wednesday meetings at Sandown, only 5 minutes drive. John Monash, great commander during World War I of the Australian forces. Despite being a great military commander, I doubt he would have been allowed into the Melbourne Club at the same time due to his religion. But
yeah, and it is a disgrace that the race is only a Group 3 and that it is sponsored by a British-owned bookmaker. But that's racing, and but if you don't know who he is, and you're an Australian, you should know, and you should do some research. There's a lot of great books, like Gallipoli by Fitzsimons is a really good book that speaks to some of what John did, but he did heaps more than that. I think he's responsible for the tomb, the shrine. I think he was the one who got that going, because like when they came back, there was nothing for the returned soldiers at all. Yeah, I think maybe Mark, you might know better, but I reckon he's the bloke who sort of broke through the Western Front, essentially.
Been a while since I've done my World War I history. He was certainly at Gallipoli.
He dominated Gallipoli, I know that.
And he was the Western Front after that.
Which was like the only successful part of Gallipoli was the evacuation.
Yes, right. Tell you what, if you go to Wikipedia, but don't just read, there's good stuff on Wikipedia, but there's also a lot of good sources and further reading if you want to educate yourself about John Monash or anyone else, really.
I believe he coordinated like air attacks with land attacks, and that's how they broke the line. Anyway, do all that. Hope I'm right. Fuck. Anyway, great man, and I hope that doesn't offend anyone. What are we going to talk about now, Peter?
The race?
I was going to say, speaking of great men, shall we talk about the race, which is over 1100 metres at Caulfield. The meeting overall, I think it's fair to say, difficult.
I've done the meeting in detail. It's sort of longer than I wanted to because it was difficult. Never been more grateful to have such a great result yesterday, that there is zero pressure on me financially, and I don't think with our subs to bet a stack for the rest of the week, because it's a good coincidence, because this meeting's tricky and quite awful. The only race that I have bet into early, which we can now with the NBLs, is race 8, the Monash Stakes. So we'll talk about that race a little bit. Throughout the card, there's a couple of horses that look like they're going to run good races, but they'll either have like a really bad rider or a tricky map or both. And you know, this early stage, I don't want to pull the trigger yet. The weather in Melbourne is as good as it could get for this time of year, guys. You'd agree. The sun is shining. It's still cold as balls, but the sun is shining, and it's glorious.
Indeed it is. Speaking of this race, $2.60 favourite Malkovich with Jamie Carr ahead of Villamai, $4.60 Viridine at $6.50. Order of command $7.50 in the form of Wester's Bester. Red Can Man $9.50. Jack Dickens, take it away. What do you like?
J Card jumps off Red Can Man and onto Malkovich. Malkovich sits outside of Villamai, I think, on the speed here. This is a shoot race at Caulfield, 1100 metres, so they bang out. There's not a stack of thinking here. It's just they often can be 3 to 6 wide, and it's not the worst. I think Malkovich and Villamai are the two leaders. Ashlaw, Dexalation, and Red Can Man next line. Peter, would you think that's where Red Can Man would get to?
I would have thought he would have been somewhere in the first 4 or 5, given he is from Barrier 5. I think that's about right.
I just think Jack Martin on Ashlaw is favourite to give in to the speed outside him from Villamai and Malkovich. And Ben Gladrap Mellon will just let them roll across, because he's a veteran senior Victorian hoot, and the only thing they love as much as cash is cover, and he's going to get something. I Am Superman will slot in behind them, then Innkeeper. I think Viridine's worse than midfield. I really, really wanted to back William Thomas off the good performance last week, and it's got beautiful track and trip stats, but barrier 1 with no speed on Thursday morning is not a recipe for success. So, if they're getting right off the fence and he can go up or around them, then I like his chances a little bit more, but the map's awful. And then Order of Command, I think, goes back from the wide draw fresh and Propel worse in midfield. Malkovich was very, very good last start. Hulk was good the same day in Sydney when it should have won but didn't. From top ahead.
Always should have won them, did they? I mean, get back horses that can't run past 1100 there.
But what I'm saying is the form from the previous run in Sydney looks to be okay. The run at Caulfield was really, really good. Second go at Caulfield I like. I think it'll improve with the second go. I love fast horses, wide gates, J Cart. That is her bread and butter. That's why she's about to ride. If she hasn't ridden 100, she'll do it on this horse. I think it'll win. I think it'll start closer to 210, 220, which I never thought I'd say this sort of thing, but you just look at the race and this is the way it is. This horse maps perfectly. D-Lane gave this thing the greatest ride it could have been given, but it's almost a positive to go to J Cart on a fast horse. I'd rather D-Lane on a horse that's midfield sort of thing as opposed to J Cart, which we learnt yesterday. But I think this is the perfect setup for her. Horse still early in its prep. I think it starts 220. I think it wins. Number 10, Malkovich.
Full stop. Thank you very much. Okay, that's Caulfield. Nice and short and sharp. You feature race to Group 3. We'll see how the rest of the card goes, but it's good to see, I guess, some of the slightly better horses starting to resume. It's probably still just a touch early. Let's have a look.
Which is why, Peter, it's very important to get a read from the mounting yard.
Yes.
Which we will have for you in Melbourne, not in Sydney, because ScoMo, no one knows where he is, but he certainly hasn't vaccinated anyone, and they still haven't been able to get a lockdown there in Sydney. So, no scurry on course in Sydney, but Jackson Oldham on course for us at Caulfield. Maybe me, maybe Peter. We'll see how we're travelling. But you get Mounting Yard Mail every single race at Caulfield.
Won't be me. I'll be in Perth.
Sorry, Peter. That's very... Yeah.
But you will get Mounting Yard Mail next Wednesday and next Saturday from Belmont.
Oh, Christ. Just buckle up for that. What are you gonna wear on course? I know you put a lot of thought into this. Have you moved past the leopard print sort of gear, or are we still there?
It will be probably wet and miserable in Perth, so...
Right up your alley.
Yeah, I'll be wearing mostly black. Looking like the Undertaker. So no one speaks to me.
You need a big black hat, a big black Cobra.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Speaking of people I don't want to be speaking to, Wayne Hawkes had some interesting stuff to say with our mate G Hall about speed maps. What do we think of Wayne Hawkes?
What?
I don't think that's how Wayne talks, but what do we think of his comments?
What were his comments for those that didn't listen?
Well, the quote that was pulled out of it was that Wayne Hawkes said that speed maps were a crock of shit. It was a bit more nuanced than that. What he was getting at was that, in New South Wales, not in Victoria, but in New South Wales, you have official steward speed maps, which he wasn't a fan of. Plus, they might be getting, the trainer might have a speed map, the jockey personally might have someone doing maps for them as well, and then they might have access to even another one. So they could be getting 3 or 4 different viewpoints of what the speed or the map in the race is going to be, and that is just confusing the jockeys. Look, I don't think speed maps are a crock of shit. I think that's too simplistic, but I think he's making a pretty good point. Firstly, you don't want to be confusing jockeys with a variety of speed maps. And also, another thing he said in the interview was that ride the horse to where it's comfortable. Don't ride it to what the map you've been given pre-race is. Ride it to how it's comfortable after it gets out of the gate. So I think that's an excellent point, and more people should pay attention to that.
Full stop.
Full stop.
He's good for a soundbite, Wayne, eh?
For sure. But you know what I mean? I've seen T. Berry, who rides 1 million winners a year and been in great form this year. So this is not a knock on him, but it's because I backed him. But 2 horses he's drawn the outside gate on, or one from outside, last week in small fields. He's decided 48 hours pre-race he's going back to last time when he didn't need to. Or didn't necessarily need to. At least hop out. And look, if a couple missed the start, you could be in midfield or fairly handy. You could be 4 lengths, 5 lengths further, closer to the lead than you otherwise would have been. But if you've just come hell or high water and snicking...
Are they allowed to do that in New South Wales, though?
Sorry?
Are they allowed to do that in New South Wales?
Of course they are. I mean, you're not going to get rubbed out. You're not even going to get fined if you're mapped last and you sit midfield. You just say the horse jumped better than I thought it would. I mean...
Oh, you don't even get fined if you break COVID. Play on.
I wonder. I've mentioned it before, but Sydney Stack must be wrapped with that decision. Nothing.
Oh, Paul Vaughan had a couple of beers at home. It's like $1 million. Went off and had a tour.
Yeah.
All right, we've got 2 questions to finish off the show. We'll follow up with EB's question from the deep dive regarding short favourites under $2 at Caulfield or Flemington and their profitability long term. This is not including horses first up. So he made comment, there was a couple there, Dice Roll, I'm Thunderstruck, hype horses. If you blindly laid these type of horses, would you be profitable long term? So if we go back to 2012, 1st of Jan, taking favourites that aren't first up and that their price is under $2 on puntingform.com.au's system. We'll start off with, this is Caulfield, I believe. 56.
You're doing this live.
I am doing. I've already done it. I've done 2 of them.
Say,
I can't remember which one.
That's a lot of pony. That's going to take a while for it to churn.
I don't know. It's 109 hits, 56 winners, 51.4% win percentage, minus 8.4% profit on turnover. That's betting proportionally. Flat staking is minus 13.2%. So that's 56 from 109. That is at Flemington, I should say. That's at Flemington. At Caulfield, 67 from 124, 54% win strike rate. We've got 6.6% on the minus betting proportionally and minus 6% betting flat. So I don't think that's necessarily an answer for you, EB.
I think you'd need to define the term of what's a hype horse, because he specifically said hype horse. Whether that's all even money favourites, it's a bit nebulous.
Distance ranges, setups, all those sort of things, days between last start, that all probably comes into it. Okay, but we've got one more question from Kiat. Good man, friend of the show. Just a question for the next slide.
Say that.
Or whenever you get around to it. When pricing, I don't know, I'm not sure what's going on either. When pricing races, how do you / the team go about removing bias from your pricing? It is very easy to price a horse on how you want it to perform rather than looking at the facts. I appreciate that it's hard to remain unbiased in any approach, but is there a particular method that you guys use to overcome this?
Who wants to start?
You go.
So Carts would know too, like the way we've Carts been part of our sort of some of our not even longer term clients, just anyone who's on board. We've been like Curls and I particularly did 2 Zooms last week just with a bunch of guys and girls. We just sat on there and just dribbled and yarned for sort of 2 hours or 4 hours. We have like sort of a basis foundation for pricing at the mailbag, which we all share and all have input on, and is always evolving as well. But a big part of doing it that way is to eliminate what you were speaking about. So it brings you to a point where then you have the ability to be to put your own spin on it, a bit of flair, but you've only got so much room to move. So and you can turn things up and down for different scenarios, different distances, different tracks, etc. But once you get to a price, say $6, if I think that it's a certainty, it's not going to become $2. It might become $4 with a lot of manoeuvring. So that's a way to take out that, and it's still early, I guess. But like in Melbourne, like we are legitimately fucking flying, and this is the starting point for every bet we've ever sent in the last like sort of 12 months, Peter, maybe less. So it's definitely a crucial part of your form analysis, pricing, and decision making is to remove your thoughts, your biases. I don't know if that makes sense, but the point he's trying to get to is very, very relevant, is my point.
Yep, I would agree with that. Just quickly, and I tend to forget almost instantly if I backed a horse last start outside of my notes. I've just become so reliant on my note taking that I really just forget everything else. I don't care if the horse wins or loses. Next start, when I go to look at a race, it's just purely the race. I just genuinely don't have favourites. I hate every single... I'm an equal hating opportunist, so I just hate everything equally.
Yes. Yeah, I think your point's a good one. To eliminate bias, automate as much as you can. Spend your time getting your automated systems as good as they can be. Then it's up to you how much input per race or per horse you want to put in. But the more you automate, the more you're going to eliminate bias.
So the perfect example is William Thomas in the race we've just previewed. Last week I black booked it, which I don't really like black book horses that much anymore. But I reckon this horse is going to go good next start. Now there's this start and the start after. They're the two starts I'm interested in William Thomas. So as a youngster or like a youngster punter, I just would have blindly backed this horse.
Yep.
We're not priced. I don't really care. It's a black booker. So bang. The way I work now, part of my brain goes, I wish I could back this, and I'm going to be sick if it wins. But I trust the process, I guess.
Yeah. It could be one of those as well where you think a horse has returned in good form. It might have trialled really well, run well first start, doesn't meet a good setup, but that doesn't mean you have to back it next start. It might be the start after or something like that. But you're aware of it, I guess. But as we're all saying, it's just another factor.
Yeah.
And I think the sicker you get, and the more like the longer you do it, you might black book like a horse out of this race, like Tactical Advantage. That might be first up, is it? No, second up. Say Order of Command. It's first up. It goes huge from the back, and you black book it. I used to just black book it, say, as a younger punter. Now I'd be saying, righto, I want to see this horse in this type of race at this track over this distance. And it needs to have the race needs to have X, Y, and Z. So it needs to have good speed or no speed or shit like that. So William Thomas, I wanted to see it probably back down the straight at Flemington. Even though it's a track and trip horse here, I think it's just coincidence, and it's been in a lot weaker races than this.
Okay, very good. Mark, I'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. We'll talk about the Sydney meeting from Randwick.
Yep.
Dickens,
you've got Caulfield, obviously. There's a little bit of Cranny tonight.
Cranny today, Peter.
Cranny today.
Bet today. This will be good. It'll be run and done by the time this gets out. We're betting tomorrow at Sales lightly, and there'll be a country meeting on Saturday. And remember, if you have recently got punting form, sectional pro form subscription, or you want to, I will there's a few of you now sit through a 30-minute sort of lesson where you can ask whatever you want, and we'll go through a race or two and get you going, because it can be a little bit tricky at the start, but it's an investment that'll set you up for a much better life on the punt.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.